It was a quiet afternoon on January 2nd, 2025, in a small town in Arkansas. Nothing about the day seemed unusual, until one simple decision turned into a confrontation that would raise serious questions about police authority, citizen rights, and the limits of both. A man, we'll refer to him as Mr. Watchman, pulled into the parking lot of the Johnson Police Department. He wasn't there to protest. He wasn't there to cause trouble. He was there to take a phone call. After exiting the roadway, he drove calmly around the back of the building and parked in a nearby lot, choosing a quiet spot where he could conduct business without distractions. But within moments, his presence caught someone's attention. Lieutenant Sterling Halfill noticed the unfamiliar vehicle and decided to make contact. At first, the interaction seemed routine. But what followed would quickly spiral into a tense and complicated legal standoff that captured on both police body cameras and Mr. Watchman's own dashcam. The dashcam begins recording shortly after the lieutenant approaches. His first concern: suspicious activity. To the officer, a parked vehicle near a police building raised red flags. To Mr. Watchman, it raised questions. "Are we a stop and ID state?" he asks. It's a simple question, but one loaded with legal significance. Because in the United States, not every encounter with police requires identification. The officer responds by asserting authority. He claims he can detain Mr. Watchman for suspicious activity. But there's a problem. Suspicion is not a crime. And Mr. Watchman knows it. What unfolds next is a calm, but firm, exchange of legal reasoning. The lieutenant insists that being in a police parking lot requires a reason. Mr. Watchman pushes back. What law says that? It's a critical moment. Because in law enforcement, authority must be grounded in law, not assumption. The officer struggles to articulate a specific statute. Instead, he repeats the phrase, suspicious activity. But again, suspicion alone does not meet the legal threshold for detention. As the conversation continues, tension begins to build. The officer asks more questions. Mr. Watchman asks for legal justification. The two are speaking past each other, each grounded in a completely different understanding of the situation. To the officer, this is about security. To the citizen, it's about rights. Then comes another turning point. The officer claims the parking lot is not public property. Mr. Watchman challenges that claim. He points out that there are no clear markings indicating private property where he entered. The officer partially agrees, but still insists that Mr. Watchman doesn't belong there. At this point, the encounter shifts. What began as a vague suspicion is now slowly transforming into something else. Trespassing. More officers arrive on the scene. The situation escalates, not because of any physical threat, but because of disagreement. The officer demands identification. Mr. Watchman refuses. And here's where the law becomes crucial. Under Arkansas law, officers may only detain someone if they have reasonable suspicion of a specific crime, typically a felony or a dangerous misdemeanor. Simply sitting in a parked car doesn't meet that standard. But there is another law in play. Arkansas has a loitering statute, which can require identification under certain conditions. However, those conditions must involve behavior that causes alarm or concern. And in this case, a man sitting in his truck, talking on the phone, is hardly alarming. Still, the officer presses forward. And now, the situation reaches a boiling point. You're either going to leave, or you're going to be arrested. It's no longer a discussion. It's an ultimatum. Mr. Watchman refuses to leave. He believes he is on public property. He believes he has done nothing wrong, but here's where things become legally complex. Because while the initial detention may have lacked justification, the parking lot itself was, in fact, marked as restricted. Signs, though disputed, indicated that the area was for authorized personnel only. And under Arkansas law, remaining on restricted property after being told to leave can constitute criminal trespass. The officers now shift their legal footing. This is no longer about suspicious activity. It's about trespassing. And once Mr. Watchman refuses to leave, they make their move. "Sir, you're under arrest." The moment is tense, but controlled. Mr. Watchman steps out of the vehicle. He repeatedly states that he is not resisting. And to his credit, he doesn't. He complies physically, even while continuing to argue his case verbally. But the situation doesn't end there. After placing him in handcuffs and securing him in a patrol car, officers begin searching his vehicle. And this is where the encounter takes another controversial turn. Because under Supreme Court precedent, specifically Arizona v. Gant, Police cannot search a vehicle simply because someone has been arrested. There are only two valid justifications. Either the suspect has access to the vehicle at the time, or there is reason to believe evidence of the crime is inside. In this case, neither condition appears to be met. Mr. Watchman is already handcuffed. He is secured. And the alleged crime? Trespassing. A crime that leaves no evidence inside a vehicle. Yet, the search continues. Officers look through the truck, without a warrant, and without clear legal justification. From a legal standpoint, this may be the most problematic part of the entire encounter. Meanwhile, Mr. Watchman continues to protest. He warns the officers. He speaks of lawsuits. He insists his rights are being violated. At one point, even another officer acknowledges, "You are fairly correct." Eventually, after discussions between supervisors, the situation de-escalates. Mr. Watchman is released. But the story doesn't end there. He is charged with obstructing governmental operations. However, according to later statements, he successfully defeats the charge in appeals court. And while he initially planned to file a lawsuit, the case is ultimately settled for an undisclosed amount. So what really happened here? On one hand, the officers were correct about the trespassing issue. The parking lot was restricted. And once Mr. Watchman refused to leave, they likely had probable cause to arrest. But on the other hand, the way they got there raises serious concerns. The encounter began with vague suspicion. No clear crime. No clear legal justification. And instead of clarifying the situation, the officers escalated it. They demanded identification without proper legal grounds. They shifted their reasoning mid-encounter. And most importantly, they conducted a vehicle search that appears difficult to justify under established law. As for Mr. Watchman, he was right about some things, and wrong about others. He correctly understood that he was not required to identify himself under those initial circumstances, but he misunderstood the nature of the property he was on. And perhaps most importantly, he chose to argue instead of disengage. Because sometimes, being legally correct isn't enough to avoid escalation. In the end, this encounter serves as a powerful reminder that rights must be understood by both citizens and law enforcement. That authority must be exercised within legal boundaries. And that when either side fails to fully understand the law, the consequences can escalate quickly. This wasn't just a parking lot encounter, it was a collision between authority and accountability. And moments like these remind us why knowing your rights matters.